Hello everyone! Welcome to my guide for the One-Bar-Sorcerer build, your free pass through the maelstrom arena. In this video I'm going to show you a highly competitive build and show you step by step a build that you can use for PVE and PVP contents. The chapters are split in set, the build, the rotation, the maelstrom arena and some battlegrounds. If you like the video, give a like and subscribe. Now here we are at the sets of this amazing one-bar build. The Surgeon set is an easy set to achieve in both of the Wayward Sewers. The chances you already have them are pretty high. The main buff of the set doesn't sound too much, but it will get extremely boosted by the other sets and champion points. We implement this set as weapon, jewelry and one chestplate in heavy. The reason why one chestplate has to be in heavy is the Oaken Soul ring. This ring takes away the ability to have 2 bars, but gives almost every good buff we can get. The ring has its most power when you play alone and loses its power when you play in trials, as healers or tanks will give you certain buffs as well. The third set we use is the Deadly set, where one piece has to be on the shoulder or head. You can buy it in Zero Deal for cheap Alliance points or for some points at trading guilds of your trust. The Deadly set boosts channeled attacks, and I have it on this build and on my Arcanist build with the beam. Because we have one more place to slot, we choose to boost our crit damage. Therefore we choose the Slime Cross set, as the Slime Cross set gives the most crit damage for one piece of armor. With the Curious in heavy and the rest in medium, the Slime Cross set has to be in light to get the max out of the Undaunted skill line. So here we come to the enchantments and traits of the build. The Lightning Staff for single attacks is mandatory and should be enchanted with flame damage and have precise as trait. The Jewelry should give you a solid damage boost. Therefore use the Glyph of truly magical or physical harm as enchantments and Bloodthirsty or Infuse as traits. Besides the Surgeon Curious, that is reinforced, we go with Divine as traits. That will boost our Mundus Stone, the Thief, and therefore our critical hit rate. The Curious is chosen reinforced because it boosts the armory the most. So the next topic is the used skills, attributes and champion points for PvE and PvP. Armory stations can be found in any guild house or can be bought in the crown shop as spawnable allies. With an armory station, you can change the build between PvP and PvE, and I use it now to show you what changes in the build. But first we come to the champion points. In the blue section, the champion points should boost your critical damage, your heavy attacks, your single target attacks, and your attacks over time. In the red section, I recommend the extra health, free dodge roll, running speed and the faster resurrection time. Note that for Maelstrom Arena you can change the resurrection time without any hesitation for more armor, for example. Feel free to use the green section as you like. As soon as you have the 4 shown wounds marked and equipped in the top bar, use the remaining champion points to max your passives. Let's have a look now into the skills for the One-Bar-Sorcerer build. As first skill we use the Twilight Tormentor. The damage boost for enemies above 50% is a notable feature. The second skill is the Unstable Clean Fear that we use as our main heal. The third skill is Crystal Fragments that gives huge single target attack for a cheap price. The next skill is Unstable Wall of Elements that has a chance to make the enemy off balance. The fifth skill is the Daedric Prey that will max our pet's damage. As ulti, the altronach is definitely the best options for dungeons and trials as it gives the team major berserk. what finally brings us to the PvP section in this build. In PvP, you should generally be more tanky and have better healing possibilities than in PvE. Therefore, we change from 64 attribute points in Magica to 40 points Magica and 24 points in health. For a stronger heal, we now change the first skill to the Twilight Matriarch, and because of getting rid of the Clean Fear later, we now use the Hunting Curse shown as 5th skill to save resources. The 3rd skill is Crystal Fragments again, but the 4th skill is Mage's Wrath to execute enemies and not giving them any chance to heal up. As 2nd skill, we use Streak that can help to get out or into an attack. As ulti, we now use the Ice Comet because it has the highest burst damage and a ranged stun. You could use this ulti in the Maelstrom arena as alternative to the altronach. To show you now the rotation and the damage output of this build, I will fight against the target Iron altronach in my guild house. Near the altronach in my guild is a well that refreshes my ulti to the max. I always use it before the altronach session to compare builds. In this rotation I will start the Crystal Fragments as it takes some time to cast and therefore start the timer. The attack is followed by all the dots I have. When all dots are done, I will get into the heavy attack mode. From then, I will cast only 1 or a maximum of 2 skills before I start another heavy attack. Therefore, the boon of the Surgeon set never breaks up. Whenever I see a Crystal Fragment proc, I will cast it between the heavy attacks. Note, when the altronach is under 50% of health, I will stop to use the Twilight Tomato as it would be a waste of resources. The build gave me around 72k DPS on an altronach. You have to consider that this number could be higher if I would change the unstable Clan Fear into the Clan Fear with the dot. What you have to admit is because of the Oaken Soul Ring, most of the buffs are on you even in Maelstrom Arena. Furthermore, you have a lot of health, armor and ulti regeneration. Now follows the promised run in the Maelstrom Arena. Because there are several really good illustrations on YouTube, and because I want to keep this video as short as possible, I will just show you the end bosses. It should give you a brief overview how the build performs. The best thing about the lightning staff is that the range is really high. Note how I use the wall of elements before an enemy even starts. If you struggle with the build at some times, consider using the ulti in times of the most darkness. Because of the high tankiness and the relative high damage output, you should be able to master the Maelstrom Arena in no time. Enjoy now the great Maelstrom Arena and bosses. I will comment shortly on each level what you have to consider. The second boss is not strong but really tanky. The boss is split into 3 enemies. 2 of them have a shield active. Attack the other one and avoid the attack by moving and roll dodging all the time. Use the lever to stop the blades working. So if a blade hits you, don't panic. Rather press block and regenerate your ulti. Just try not to stay too long into the blades. The key for the third boss is moving. When you are on land, always move around the small islands to avoid the boss's damage. Avoid the waters at all times as they will make strong damage to you. When you feel like too many ads are here, change the platform with a roll dodge. As often in Azor, kill the ads first, then the boss. The fourth boss shows the weakness of the build for the first time. With an Arcanist or Templar, I made much more damage per second on burst mode. That means damage in few time. The tankiness and the health, on the other hand, are outstanding. Now the fifth boss is considered one of the hardest in this arena. This is a moment where the build fits in perfectly. Good overall damage and a good tankiness helps to survive. At 75% and 50%, she will destroy a platform. If you stay around, you will die. If you stay too long in the ice water, you will die as well. So what can you do? My advice is to kill the ads first. Then bring her down to the stage who destroys the platform. At this moment, you change the platform and wait for her. Burst her down with all you have on the final platform. The sixth boss is an easy target. If there are small spiderlings around, run to the golden light. Otherwise, burst this boss down as learned at the altronach. The seventh boss is another harder rock to chew. Make sure the mushrooms around you don't poison you, as their poison is deadly to the touch. If poisoned, there are springs around that can heal you, but you have to be quick. At 75%, 2 sorcerers will spawn on the map. Kill the sorcerer that is close to the boss and run to the other one. The other sorcerer will now make a protection shield that protects you from an evil dot of the boss. In the shield, you can continue your damage to the now easy target. Under no circumstances, kill the sorcerer with the protective shield. 8th boss is slow but strong. Kill the crystals and then the boss. Use your agility to avoid his attacks. This stage is very dangerous for the young one-bar build with pets. On a regular basis, the monks spawn and make fire dot that will kill your pets way before you. We remember though that our heal is with one of those pets. Focus and interrupt the fire monks at all times and as soon as possible. The 9th and final boss was the hardest for me with this build. The missing burst damage and the way too strong fire breath attack from the crematorial guard killed me way too often before I understood the easy way. Use your ulti always for the crematorial guard and use block and heal at the same time. With that knowledge now, you can repeat the mechanic over and over, as the boss just have one heavy attack that has to be dodged and one AoE that has to be interrupted. This AoE is comparable to the ones at the 8th stage. So after the first stage, the boss moves to the upper floor. To reach the upper floor, you have to kill one of those small little electric dinosaurs near the portal to activate it. If a dinosaur dies not near the portal, a new wall will spawn, so don't worry. As soon as you are on the upper floor, you have to focus the 3 energy crystals. First, I run to a crystal and place all my dots before I dodge roll out of one of the boss's attacks that could knock me back to the bottom floor. This attack occurs every time after you come up to the upper floor. After the dodge, I move around with heavy attacks and try to do as much damage as I can before getting knocked to the bottom floor. I repeat the process until the boss comes to the bottom floor. Remember to use the ulti always on the fire breath monster. Interrupt the boss, dodge roll out of any attack he does. Good luck! This is how it's done. The maelstrom arena. So now we are at the point where I show you guys some PvP action of this build. Remember the quick changes from the PvP build in the armory station. You will be able to crush your enemies, punish any kind of tank, and be a reliable ally in any kind of battlegrounds or in Cyrodiil. We are maybe not talking about high-end PvP set, but consider that you have range, health, armor, multi-regeneration, escape, initiation and damage. But most of all, you have it with the same set that you use in PvE. With all my experience, I can recommend you, without any doubt, to upgrade it into gold, if you have the resources to spare.